Jets, Jets. What is going on, Jet fans? And welcome back to the Jets Board for another live stream. I am so excited to be back with you. I will be your host, Ryan Ward. And again, guys, welcome back. We are going to be having another Saturday night live stream. I'm liking to make these things more frequent, happening every Saturday. Doing power rankings, starting talking about all these teams. We're getting closer to training camp, which is getting exciting. A lot of moves have been making, potential moves on the horizon. Jalen Ramsey seems to be getting some more interest from teams and has come up with a list of where he'd want to go. The Niners, the Rams, seeing like he wants to be on the West Coast, which is really interesting. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I have some of you guys who are already in here. Make sure when you're coming in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It does help the channel out a ton. But guys, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. You know I always love having you guys here. And if you are new here, welcome. No matter if you're a Jets fan or a fan of another team, you are always welcome in the Jets Ward. No matter what, this is a safe space for you. But guys, like I have in the title of this video, I got a fun one. We are going to be doing power rankings of starting defensive tackles. I have ranked all of them from number 32 to number 1. We're going to start out at 32. These are all the number 1 defensive tackles on each team. And I've ranked them from who I think is the best, who I think is, they're all still great players. I'm not going to say the worst, but as a starting defensive tackle on the lower side. All of these players are amazing. They could do great stuff. They got to the NFL, which is great in and of itself. They worked so hard to get there. So I would never like to diminish any of their talent or anything like that. But if you're going by skill-wise, these players, some are better than others. And I'm going to go through each and every one of you guys. Some of you guys might agree with my rankings. Some of you guys might disagree, and that's okay. Let me know in the comments if you disagree or agree with a lot of these comments, and let me know why. If there's players that I have on here that you don't think are going to end up starting for that team, let me know. I'm going based off of the depth charts that I've seen and have studied the past couple of weeks of who is starting at each position, and some are different. Some are 4 fronts, so they'll have 2 defensive tackles. Some are 3 fronts, where they'll have a nose tackle. I am going based on the best defensive tackle that I see on there. So we'll get started right away. I want to jump right into this. We've done quarterbacks so far. We've done running backs. We've done receivers. We've done tight ends. Now we're moving to our first defensive side, and D tackles is a great place that I would love to start. And getting into it, the first player that I am going to be talking about ranked at number 32 is Khyiris Tonga, 28 years old, 6'2", 335 pounds. He is the new defensive tackle of the New England Patriots. Now, the New England Patriots signed him in free agency this offseason. He was a Cardinal. He played good for the Cardinals last year. He played in 13 games, had a total of 22 tackles, 6 solo tackles. He had 0 sacks. He's more of a run-stuffing type of defensive tackle. Doesn't have a lot of great pass rushing skills, but he is more of that run stuffer. Now, he's 28 years old, so he's still got a good amount of upside on him, too, for a defensive tackle. The problem is he only played in 13 games. The Patriots actually had, in my opinion, a better defensive tackle in Devonta Godchow, but they actually traded him to the Saints, and this guy is his replacement as of now. They do have Christian Barmore, who's at defensive end right now, and they got Joshua Farmer, who's looked at as being a defensive end as well, but you could move him on the inside. But right now, on the starting depth chart at defensive tackle, they got Khyiris Tonga. And if I'm butchering that name, I apologize. If there's any New England Patriots fans in the chat, you can help me pronounce his name, type it out how it's supposed to be said. But right now, I have Tonga as my number 32 starting defensive tackle in these power rankings. Good player, but there's a lot more skilled players at this position. So right now, I have him ranked at 32. Next, going into number 31, I got RUCO Odighizuwa. He's 23 years old, so really young. He's 6'4", 295 pounds. He's been in the league for 1 year so far. He's played in 8 games last year, so dealt with some injuries. He had a total of 11 tackles, 4 solo, and again, no sacks. 23 years old. He's still young. He's a bigger guy, 295, lighter on the lighter side, but tall. Could be used as a good pass rusher. He is quick for his size. Needs to stay healthy, though. It's never a good sign when you start missing games your first year in the league, and he dealt with injuries in college as well. So the Falcons are going to need to rely on him to be able to bounce back and stay healthy and to make sure he takes a leap coming into this season. But right now, RUCO is the number 31 ranked defensive tackle. I do end up thinking the Falcons make some more moves to bring other help in, more veterans in. But as of right now, he is their starting defensive tackle, and for right now, he is number 31 on my list. He could shock the world, though, and become one of the better pass-rushing defensive tackles in this league if he can stay healthy. That is to be determined as of now, though. So let's keep on moving. Jumping right into number 30, we got Travis Jones for the Baltimore Ravens. Again, another younger guy. He's 25 years old. He's 6'5", 338 pounds. Been in the league for 3 years at this point. Played in all 17 games last year, which is really, really good. Had a total of 42 tackles, 22 of them were solo, 1 sack. So, again, not your typical pass-rushing defensive tackle. He does have some ability, but he's more of that run-stuffing guy right up the middle. He does clog up some holes, but again, problem with him is he does stand up straight a lot and can get moved around by stronger centers and stronger guards. So he has to stay lower. He is a bigger guy, so I understand that's tough, but he needs to keep his balance and stay low because if he can cause a lot of problems. He's a strong young man. He just needs to get his technique a little bit better and be able to stay low so that he can dominate the line of scrimmage. Because if he can do that, the Ravens pass rush can take advantage of that. And they've worked on this defense in the offseason as well. And they just got better in the cornerback position with signing Jair Alexander to a really solid deal, really cheap deal for them. So the defense is getting better, but Travis Jones needs to take that next step as well to be able to help them out even more. And getting into number 29, we got Bobby Brown III, recently signed with the Carolina Panthers. He's only 24 years old. He's 6'4", 332 pounds. Been in the league for 4 years. Played in 17 games last year. Had a total of 44 tackles with 16 solo tackles, 0 sacks. Again, another guy, shorter side but a little stockier, has a ton of power, but needs to be able to focus on his lower half. He needs to stay low, needs to work on the footwork because he's been caught off guard before and people just run right by him. When he could actually make that stop, he needs to keep his head up and make sure he knows where the ball is going. But again, he still has a ton of upside, only 24 years old, and especially on a defensive line that the Carolina Panthers have revamped this year, signing they let go of Jadeveon Clowney. They might let go of DJ Wonnum because they drafted 2 new defensive ends. This could be a very young Carolina Panthers defensive line, but it can be really, really good as well. So Bobby Brown III can have a solid year. I expect those numbers to jump up this year, being on that Carolina Panthers defense. I think he's going to do much, much better. But right now, he is my 29th starter, my 29th ranked defensive tackle at this point. Continuing on, we go to the Seattle Seahawks at 28. We got Byron Murphy Jr. He is 22 years old, 6 foot, 306 pounds, been in the league for 1 year. Played in 14 games last year, had 36 total tackles, 12 solo, and a half a sack. So this is your run stuffer. He is your typical run-stuffing defensive tackle. He's going to clog up the A-gaps. He is going to clog up holes. Again, though, very young, needs to keep his technique because he is a very strong individual. But he does take some plays off every now and again, which is something you cannot do, especially at that defensive tackle position. He needs to stay focused at all times. He is not a typical 3-down defensive tackle. He will get pulled out on pass rushing downs, but he can be a good run stuffer for them. But again, he's young. He needs to work on a lot of things. And being on a line with Leonard Williams could definitely help him out a lot. And now, since they got a new defensive end and DeMarcus Lawrence from the Cowboys, who they signed this offseason, this could actually help him out a lot and open up some more holes for him because he's not going to get double teamed as much because now you got to worry about Leonard Williams and you got to worry about Lawrence on each side of you. So you got more protection, which could open up some things for this guy and help him feast up the middle a little bit more. But he's got to keep that aggression. He's got to play every single down. He's got to be aggressive on every single down to see what this guy can do. But right now, Byron Murphy II is my number 28 ranked defensive tackle. Continuing on, we get Boni Jones from the Miami Dolphins. And this is a fun one because he's a decent player, but again, he hasn't lived up to the expectations that have surrounded him his whole career. He's only 27 years old. He's 6'1", 335 pounds, 4 years experience, played in 17 games, so he's very durable. 24 total tackles, 9 solo, 0 sacks. So those numbers don't pop off the page, but he does get double teamed a great amount because he clogs up those holes so much. He is a problem up the middle. The problem is those numbers. He can never finish it. All right, he can clog up the hole, but the numbers, he needs to improve on a lot of things because that defensive line got gashed last year running the ball. And when you're a defensive tackle up the middle, that just shows weakness in your defense. He needs to step up and be more physical, be more aggressive. So that is something that he needs to do to step up. Okay? And continuing on, we get into number 26. We get into Harrison Phillips for the Minnesota Vikings, and it's tough because the Minnesota Vikings defense last year was solid. The defensive line, on the other hand, did struggle a little bit. Harrison Phillips, number 29 years old, he's 6'3", 307 pounds, been in the league for 7 years, played in Buffalo for a while, then moved to Minnesota. Solid player. He had 56 total tackles last year, solo over 16, 2 sacks. All-around decent player, but there's a lot of things that he needs to work on. A lot of things that he needs to work on here. So I think he's a solid player, but again, only ranked number 26. Vikings defense is really, really good, but the defensive line needs some work. Then we get into number 25, and this one is a guy who had so much hype when he was first drafted. This is Arik Armstead, drafted in the first round by the 49ers, was with DeForest Buckner on the same line. There were so many expectations for this guy. He's 31 years old. He's 6'7", 290 pounds, been in the league for 10 years. Played in 17 games last year, had 29 total tackles, 21 solo, 2 sacks. The hype around this guy when he was drafted was so big. There was a lot of hype around him, a lot of love, and it just never really surfaced. He had one season when he had 10 or over 10 sacks, but other than that, the sack numbers never really were there. And he's 31 years old. He's on the older side, so I don't see those numbers getting any better. Still solid in the run defense, but again, not a 3-down guy anymore. Overall good player, but not great. And again, the Jaguars might be looking for more defensive line help. There's still some good players out there. So we'll see what ends up happening with Armstead. Getting into number 24, we get Tiar Tartt. He's 28 years old, 6'2", 315 pounds, has been in the league for 6 years, plays for the Los Angeles Chargers, had 29 total tackles last year, 15 solo tackles, 1 sack, run stuffer. He reminds me of like a lesser version of Vince Wilfork, because Wilfork was just clogged up the holes, and he was a great player. Tiar Tartt has that size. He is a bigger guy, and you can see from the picture as well the strength. But again, the numbers just don't pop. He needs to step up and be able to be that big run stuffer, because the first 2 downs after that, he's pulled off the field. If he can incorporate a pass rush in some way, shape, or form, he could be a menace on that defensive line. So it could be tough for players to deal with him. But right now, he's my 24th ranked guy. Getting into the next one, we got Keanu Benton from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's 23 years old, so a very young guy, 6'4", 309 pounds, been in the league for 2 years, played in 17 games last year, 36 total tackles, 16 solo tackles, and 1 sack. The pass rushing ability is there. The power is there. That Steelers defensive line is solid. He just needs to get more time to round out his skills. He's not great in the run defense. Solid pass rusher. Has good speed, good strength. But again, he overruns the plays a lot of the time, missing a lot of tackles. So could be very, very good. Again, tons of upside. He's only 23 years old, so there's a lot of things that he could work on. But again, right now he's my 23rd ranked guy. Needs to do a lot more. Continuing on, we get to a guy that I mentioned before for the Patriots. Now he's a Saint, Devonta Godchow. He's 30 years old, been in the league for 8 years, played in 17 games last year, 67 total tackles, 24 solo tackles, 0 sacks. He's not your pass rusher. He is your run stuffer. He has pass rush ability, but to make it come all together, not great. He is more of your run stuffer, leader on the defensive line, solid guy, great locker room guy. He is somebody who needs to step up, who can do a lot more, and I think he's going to do better on this New Orleans Saints defensive line, and I'm excited to see it. Next, we get into this next guy who I'm really excited about, rookie Alfred Collins for the 49ers. He's 23 years old, 6'5", 332 pounds. Got the 49ers drafted him out of Texas. Round 2, pick 43. Guy's a solid player. Could have fought to be a later first round pick. There were rumors that he could fall to the 3rd round as well. The Niners normally hit on defensive players, especially defensive line, especially when Robert Saleh is their defensive coordinator. I'm very excited to see what they can do with him. Still young, tons of power, could be great in the run, could be solid in the pass rush. I'm excited. Right now, we don't know much about him as of now, but I'm excited to see what he can do. Right now, he's my 21st ranked defensive tackle, but I predict him to go up a lot higher than this. Continuing on, we got Deondre Sweat, who's a fun one as well. These Titans tend to give it on goal line. He can tend to get the ball to run it in like a fridge, sort of, to run it in because nobody's tackling him. He's a behemoth of a man. 23 years old, very young, 6'4", 366 pounds, been in the league for 1 year. Played in all 17 games last year, 51 total tackles, 22 solo, 1 sack. Solid player, tons of upside. I think he's going to have much better numbers this year coming up. That defense was disappointing a little bit last year. That's the strength of their team. But honestly, I think he's going to be a monster of a guy. The size right there. It's going to be a pain to try to move this kid. And he's strong, very, very strong. So I think the Titans have a good one here. And I think he's only getting better and better, especially now that he's going to be the full starting defensive tackle. And he can be a 3-down guy. Watch out for this kid. He can be really, really good. Then getting into the next one, we got DJ Jones for the Denver Broncos. He's 30 years old, 6 foot, 305 pounds, been in the league for 8 years, played in 17 games last year, 42 total tackles, 21 solo tackles, 1 sack. If you guys look at the Denver Broncos, their defense was elite last year. We could all talk about Pat Surtain. He was awesome. One of the best cornerbacks in the league, if not the best. And that's tough to say because as a Jet fan, I would argue that Sauce Gardner, but Pat Surtain is right up there. Somebody who's great. Then you got JFM who's there, who had great numbers last year. This whole defensive line and the edge rushers that they had there were great. DJ Jones is a great player. He stepped up a ton, and being a Bronco, that defense revolves around him on that defensive line. He makes everybody better on that defensive line so they can feast because he's taking the double teams and the toughest guys in the middle. Solid run defender and just clogs up holes. Overall, great player, great locker room guy as well. Overall, the Broncos have a great one in DJ Jones, and I think he can get better and better. I know he's 30 years old, but still, a defensive line, the older you get, you can still get better and better. Sometimes defensive tackles are late bloomers and defensive ends and edge rushers. DJ Jones, he could have a breakout year next year. I honestly think he might. He's a good, underrated player, in my opinion. But right now, I have him ranked number 19 because there's a lot of defensive tackles that I think are really, really good coming up. And continuing, we get to number 18, and we get to one of them that I'm really, really excited about because I was a big fan of his in the draft. Walter Nolan III. He's 21 years old. He played at Ole Miss. 6'4", 296 pounds. Amazing guy. Round 1, pick 16. He is a stud on that defensive line. I think the Cardinals are going to love him. They revamped that defense. Getting him was a steal, in my opinion, because, honestly, you could argue that Walter Nolan was one of the best defensive tackles in this draft. A lot of people did. The problem was he can be somewhat of a headache off the field. That's the thing. Can he stay focused? Can he give everything he has on every single play? That was the concern, and that's why I feel like he dropped a little bit in this draft. If he can keep his head on straight and focus and do what he needs to do, Walter Nolan III could possibly be the best defensive tackle that comes out of this draft and be a top 5 defensive tackle for years to come. That's how much confidence I have in this kid. He's going to be really, really good, and don't be shocked if he's a leader on that defense this year in sacks because he is a solid pass rusher, good at run defense. He needs to get better at it. But as a pass rusher, he can be a monster, especially on a decent defensive line of the Cardinals. I think their defense is going to be much better this year with some of the moves that they have made. So watch out for Walter Nolan III. Then we get into this kid. He's a fun one, too. Tim Settle Jr., 27 years old, 6'3", 313 pounds. He's been in the league for 7 years, played in 17 games last year, 31 total tackles, 24 solo tackles, 5 sacks. Big guy that can move. He's a solid speed threat at the defensive tackle. Great in run defensive as well. 5 sacks, you just see as a big man, as a defensive tackle. That's very, very impressive for his size. Watch out for him, too. Texans defense is solid. They are a good defense. Their offense just needs to keep the defense off the field for a lot longer because you got to get this guy settled down. When you can't have him out there at all times, he gets gassed very easily. But 5 sacks, those are very impressive. I think he gets better and better. He might get 6 or 7 sacks this year with how that defense is. Watch out for Tim Settle Jr. He could be a monster this year. But right now, he's my ranked 17th player. Then we get into B.J. Hill. This was one of the priority signings that the Bengals had this offseason. I think it was one of their first moves, bringing him back to their defense, because on a defense that was very weak last year, B.J. Hill was one of the brighter spots. He's a solid player, has been in the league for 7 years. He's 6'3", 311 pounds. He's 30 years old, played in 15 games last year, had 56 total tackles, 25 solo tackles, 3 sacks. He's a solid player. Overall, if he can stay healthy and play in all 17 games, those numbers could definitely be much better. But again, he needs to stay healthy. He has dealt with injuries throughout his career. But again, the Bengals need all the help they can get. They really need to re-sign Trey Hendrickson as well. But B.J. Hill, they brought him back. They believe in this kid. And they want him to do very well. I think he wanted to be a Bengal anyway. I don't think he wanted to leave. He didn't want to go anywhere. This is where he finds his home, and I think he's going to be a good player. I think he'll have similar numbers to these ones this year coming up, but we will see. I think the defense of the Bengals has not done much to improve themselves, so it's going to be interesting. They might get gashed again, and Burrow will have to score 40 to 50 points a game to try to win a game for them. I think it's going to be a rough one for their defense, but again, B.J. Hill is a bright spot on that defense, and why I have him ranked number 16 on here. Then we get into a guy who I think is underachieved in his career. I really like Ed Oliver. He's 27 years old. He's 6'1", 287 pounds. He's not your typical run-stuffing guy. He was brought in to the Bills when they drafted him as a pass-rushing defensive tackle to have speed, to be powerful, and do everything. He played in 14 games, total of 29 tackles, 14 solo tackles, and 3 sacks. The numbers, he has so much talent, and he plays on a beefy defensive line. Like, now they have Deion Walker behind him. They got so many players, A.J. Epinesa, Greg Rousseau on that line. They have Joey Bosa, who's hurt. But they have all these guys on that line. He should be wreaking havoc, and he just hasn't. I still have high expectations for him. I still think the talent is just too good to pass up on for him. I really do like him. But again, his numbers have been disappointing, in my opinion, for how high he was drafted. I honestly think his numbers are going to be better this year coming up because they do have a beefed up defensive line and still some solid players on there. But Ed Oliver, again, to me, has been disappointing. But right now, the talent-wise, overall, I think he's ranked number 15 for me. He just based on talent, because he could be so good. He could have been the best defensive tackle in the league. It's never come together fully for him, which has shocked me because he's a good guy, good player, does everything the right way. It's got to click. And I don't think it has up to this point. But we get into number 14. I got Mason Graham. This kid's going to be really good. A lot of people in the offseason, in the rookie mini camps and everything, were saying that he was really slow, that he looked gassed and everything. This is a new step for these rookies. It's going to take time. But honestly, he's gotten better and better from what I've seen in training camp and in the OTAs. He's only 21 years old. He played for Michigan last year. He was picked number 5 in round 1 for the Cleveland Browns. They traded back and still got a solid player. On a defensive line with Myles Garrett and him, I think it's going to be a problem. And Mason Graham, he can play the run stuff, but his game is pass rush. He is a great pass rusher at that defensive tackle spot. Now, he had Kenneth Grant next to him, who was eating up a lot of double teams last year. Let's see what he does not having a Kenneth Grant, another big defensive tackle next to him. I understand he's got Myles Garrett, but Myles Garrett's on the edge. He's going to be soloed. He's going to deal with other things. Mason Graham's job is to clog up those holes and to give pressure up the middle. Let's see if he can do that. It's going to be a big step, but I do think the talent, he's tons of talent. I think it's there, and I'm really excited to see what he can do on this Browns defense. But Mason Graham, number 14 for me right at this point. Then we get into number 13. I got DJ Reader for the Detroit Lions. Another player they brought back, solid guy, 30 years old, 6'3", 335 pounds, 9 years experience, played in 15 games last year, 23 total tackles, 11 solo tackles, 3 sacks. A guy, again, just does everything the right way. Solid player. Overall, really good run stuffer. Has improved on the pass rush ability. That defense for the Lions last year was awesome. AG's not there anymore, and they did deal with a lot of injuries, but DJ Reader was a solid staple on that defense. He did miss 2 games, but he was one of the more durable players on that defense, especially when Hutchinson went down. This guy really stepped up and did a great job as that defensive tackle for them. I think he's going to be really good. Again, on the older side, but again, like I said, it doesn't really matter your age when you're a defensive tackle. Hell, Calais Campbell was playing for years. I think he was like 37, 38 when he's still playing. I think he's still in the league. I don't know what team he's on or if he's a free agent still. But again, you can be on the older side and still be a threatening defensive tackle. So DJ Reader, watch out for this kid, especially with the defense that the Detroit Lions have. They can be a solid team. And this guy could have solid numbers, especially with Hutchinson coming back. But then we get into number 12, DeForest Buckner. I've always loved this player. He's 31 years old, 6'7", 295 pounds, 9 years experience, played in 12 games last year, 61 total tackles, 24 solo, 6.5 sacks. Great thing about Buckner is he can play on the inside. He has the size to be a menace up the middle, but you could also bounce him on the outside as well. Someone like a JFM who you can do that with, but he's just got so much power. The age is getting up there, and he's been dealing with injuries. Like I said, played in 12 games last year, so he missed a decent amount. But he's still got that pass rushing and that power. 6.5 sacks by bouncing in and out. He's a staple of that Colts defense and just still a monster. Wears that C on his jersey proudly. Overall, great player and a guy who I think could still have monstrous numbers at this age as long as he stays healthy. And that Colts defense has gotten a little better, especially in the defensive backs core. So if those defensive backs can cover the receivers well and give more time for this pass rushing defense and Buckner, those numbers can go up. Could he be a 10-sack guy again? I'm not sure. Can he get close? Probably. I think he could. He has the opportunity and the ability to. Hell, if he played in all games, maybe he would have been. But that is a question for another time. But right now, Buckner is my number 12 defensive tackle at this point. Then we get into a guy who I'm a big fan of as well. Falcons loved this guy. I was shocked that they couldn't re-sign him or they didn't want to bring him back. This is Grady Jarrett. He is a Chicago Bear now. He's 32 years old. He's 6 foot, 305 pounds. Been in the league for 10 years. Played in all 17 games last year. 53 total tackles, 30 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks. Guy just does everything right. He's not the biggest defensive tackle, but he's a very powerful one and a very speedy one. He's got explosive pass rushing ability, but his run defense is very underrated in my opinion. The guy is everywhere where the ball is, and he's a very smart guy. He knows where the ball is going to be, and he doesn't miss a lot. Sometimes they break tackles away if he arm tackles, but the guy's overall very, very consistent, a stud, and just an overall really good defensive tackle who still got it at the age of 32. And I think the Chicago Bears got a steal with this one. So watch out for Grady Jarrett. Does he step up for the Chicago Bears defense? New system, new team. Let's see how he does. But right now, he's my number 11th defensive tackle. The Chicago Bears got a good one. Getting into our top 10. And at this point, guys, if you are here, make sure you comment. If there's anybody you disagree with that I've had on the list so far, let me know. If there's anybody you agree with, I would love to hear from you guys. Make sure you are liking and subscribing to the channel as well. Like this stream. It always helps me out. I know I'm going through them a good amount and everything, maybe a little quick. If you want me to go back over players, let me know. I would love to hear from you guys as well. We've got so much going on, and there's a lot of things that I want to talk to. If we do get through them all, maybe I'll go into something else that I've had planned for a video. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit going into after this. Maybe. I want to think about that. But continuing on, we are going to be getting into the top 10 defensive tackles, and I'm really excited for this because my number 10 guy is Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins is a really solid player in my opinion, and I see my camera is freezing a little bit, and I apologize for that, guys. Wi-Fi has been a little wonky lately. Christian Wilkins, I love this player. When he was a Miami Dolphin, he was a menace. I hated playing him twice a year. He's great when it comes to pass rush. Last year, he only played in 5 games and still had 2 sacks. If he played in a full season on a team, on a defensive line that has Max Crosby next to him, I think Christian Wilkins, if he can come back and be healthy, the guy could definitely be a top 5 defensive tackle. But it's the injuries that worried me for him. He only played in 5 games, and he had a serious injury. Had 17 total tackles, 11 of them solo. He gets through the defensive line. He is very shifty as a defensive tackle and a really overall solid player. That's why I'm so glad he's not a Dolphin anymore. He had 2 sacks, even though he played in 5 games. Those numbers could be much, much better if he played in every single one. I think he comes back strong from the injury and can become that menace that he was beforehand. I just really hope he does, because I really do like Christian Wilkins. When he was a free agent, I was really hoping the Jets could have brought him in to have him next to Quinnen. That would have been so fun. Like, imagine that. You got Quinnen, who can do a pass rush but is very strong at the run game. And then Christian Wilkins being that pass rushing defensive tackle. And then you have Jermaine Johnson on the outside. And you had Will McDonald. Oh, that could have been such a monstrous defensive line. But I digress. He's not a Jet. He is a Raider. And I think the Raiders are going to love having him back. I think Max Crosby will have a little bit easier time as well, because Christian Wilkins can be a dominant force on this defensive line if he's fully right. That's the biggest thing. Can he come back and be the old Christian Wilkins that could take over games? I think he can. Watch out for this guy. He is still a monster. Getting into number 9, Jordan Davis. This is another one whose numbers haven't been what I thought. He's a big guy. He's 25 years old, 6'6", 336 pounds, been in the league for 3 years, played in 17 games, had 27 total tackles last year, 15 solo and 1 sack. I honestly think that Eagles defensive line is so good, but I really thought Jordan Davis would be more of a menace than he has been. The numbers don't, when I saw his numbers, I thought they were going to be much better than what I see, but the kid's only 25. He could pop out this next year and just be a menace and take over, because he has the ability to take over games. With that size and the speed that he has, he could be a monster and become the best defensive tackle in the league. It's just he's got to bring it all together, and I feel like that's the same thing that I've said about a lot of these guys, especially a lot of these younger defensive tackles. Jordan Davis has the ability. He is a durable defensive tackle, has the size. Don't give up on plays and just be that bulldog that he was, because he came from Georgia and now he's an Eagle. He is a monster. I think he can do a lot better as long as he stays physical and focused. That's the biggest thing. Physical and focused. He can't be blown off the ball, because there were some times where he was. So you got to watch out for that. But he's a monster. I think he can be, if he bounces back and gets better numbers, I think he can be a monster. But right now, Jordan Davis is my number 9 guy. Getting into number 8, Kenny Clark. It's a guy you guys don't talk, or I don't hear about enough, but he should be talked about more. The Green Bay Packers defense last year was really good, and it's all about that pass rush that they got. And Kenny Clark was a dominant force on that defensive line. He really was. He was a very underappreciated guy, in my opinion. He's 6'3", 314 pounds, has been in the league for 9 years, played in all 17 games last year, had 37 total tackles, 20 solo tackles, and 1 sack. He is your run-stuffing guy. He's the guy who allows all of the other players around him to thrive, because he takes up double blocks, triple teams. He is a monster and a very aggressive guy, and if you let him loose, he will get his sack numbers up. Honestly, I just think he's very underappreciated, and he has so much talent on a very talented Green Bay team who could use another pass rusher. But honestly, Kenny Clark, watch out for this guy. He could be a monster this coming year, and I think he's going to have much better numbers. So watch out for him, and I think Packers fans love this guy as well. So if there's any Packers fans in here, let me know what you guys think. I think Kenny Clark is very underappreciated. Let me know what you guys think too. But getting into the next one, at number 7, I got Punam Ford, a guy whose name really became popular this past year because he was a Charger and did really well for them. He's 29 years old. He's 5'11", 310, so on the shorter side, but on that bulkier side as well. Been in the league for 7 years. Played for the Chargers, like I said, then moved to the other LA team. He's going to be a Ram this year. Played in 17 games last year, 39 total tackles, 24 solo tackles, 3 sacks. He is your typical run defender, but he does have some pass rush ability. On that Rams defense, what they needed is a stalwart in the middle of that defense to stop the run. This guy is your guy for that. He's very talented and somebody who I feel like is coming into their own, because he had some solid years, but he was never the dominant focus like he was last year, in my opinion. I think he's getting better and better, and now being on a team that is going to give you more freedom to be yourself on that defense, I think he can be very solid, because that Rams defense isn't bad. He has solid linebacking help and a solid edge rushing group with him. So watch out for Punam Ford. I think his numbers are going to get much better as well. So watch out for this guy. But getting into number 6, I got Daron Payne from the Commanders. Another solid kid, 28 years old, 6'3", 320 pounds, been in the league for 7 years. Played in 17 games last year, total of 42 tackles, solo tackles 22, 4 sacks. Another one who could take over a game. If he keeps his head in it, he could be a monster. There are days where he could have 2 to 3 sacks. He does get double teamed a ton, but his pass rushing ability is there. He's gotten better in the run stuffing ability as well. But overall, he is a pass rush menace and a monster on that defensive line. Those offenses have to placate around this kid, because he can take over a game. If he gets into a rhythm on the snap count, and if he can pick it up real good, he will take over a game. He is that dominating factor on the defensive line who also improves everybody around him too. So you got to watch out for him. Daron Payne is a monster. And getting into number 5, finally we're in our top 5. I'm really excited about this. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. I know we're going a little quick tonight. Not going to lie, I'm still feeling the effects. I was away with my wife at a wedding last night. We had the house to ourselves. My daughter was over with my mother, so she got to have a sleepover with Mima. But my wife and I were out at a wedding, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of dancing, a lot of drinking, so fun stuff. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. I love doing these power rankings for you, and I would love to hear from you guys. Getting into the top 5 now. Like I said, we are running through this really quick. Top 5. We have number 5 is Vita Vea, a guy who has just gotten better and better with age. He has dominated. And look at the size of him. He's 6'4", 347 pounds, and 7 sacks last year. He has dominated. He is a physical monster. Total tackles 42, 27 solo tackles, 7 sacks. He just keeps getting better and better with age. He's the captain of that defense. He is just a monster and fun to watch. He seems like he's having a blast every time on that field. On a fun Buccaneers team that, don't be shocked if they go far in the playoffs. Because with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback and a solid wide receiver room and a solid defense too, with Vita Vea holding down the fort on the line, they could be good. And don't be shocked if Vita Vea has another 7-sack season in him. The guy's a monster and just too freakishly strong to be stopped. He is a force to be reckoned with and somebody who holds down that defensive line to a T. So Vita Vea, a big, big threat on that defensive line and a monster and my number 5 defensive tackle. But number 4, we are going to get into it. Osa Odighizuwa from the Dallas Cowboys. And I think I said that. Osa Odighizuwa. He's 26 years old. He's 6'2", 280 pounds, 4 years in the league, 17 games played last year, 47 tackles, 24 solo, 4.5 sacks. Pass rushing monster on a bright spot on that defense last year that was just gashed in the run game. He's not a typical run stuffer. He's on the leaner side of a defensive tackle. He has a lot of speed, a lot of power. He is your pass rushing defensive tackle. They need to get like a bigger guy to be that run stuffer on that defensive line to help him and Micah Parsons. But as a pass rushing guy, Odighizuwa is a monster. And he's just getting better and better. He's coming into his own and just improving every single year that he's in the league. And a guy that you guys got to watch out for this year because don't be shocked if he goes off for a 10-sack season, especially if that Cowboys defense is better, which I don't think they will be. But still, these numbers can get better and better. So watch out for this guy. The Cowboys made him a priority to bring back. So interesting to see what they do with him this year. But number 3, I got Quinnen Williams. As you guys know, on this Jets channel, I love talking about my Jets. And some of you guys might have thought that I've put some of these Jets guys like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Mason Taylor up really high. Justin Fields, not so much. I think he was in my 20s when I was ranking quarterbacks. But Quinnen Williams, you got to give it to him. The guy's a monster. He is just a solid player who's been through thick and thin with the New York Jets. The Jets love him. Jets fans love him. I love this kid. He's just so freaking good. As a run stuffer, as a pass rusher, again, another player that can take over games. And on a defensive line that has Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald, he is still the dominating factor who players watch, who teams create plans against. Because if you don't plan for him, your day is going to be ruined on offense. He's been in the league for 6 years. He's played in 16 games last year, 37 total tackles, 25 solo, 6 sacks. This kid, he could be the best defensive tackle in the league, but it's a consistency issue. There are games where he'll take over. There are games where you won't even see him. That's the problem. And our Jets defense last year was a disappointment, honestly. After Saleh was fired, the defense took a step back, and Quinnen was one of them. He did take a step back. He wasn't the same focused player that all of us grew to love. And that was a lot of players, though. Honestly, I think under AG, he's going to rejuvenate a lot of these defensive players, and Quinnen is going to be one of them because AG has already spoke very highly of this guy. Steve Wilkes speaks very highly of him as a veteran on that defense, as a leader on that defense. I think he's going to get much better, and I think these numbers are going to get much better as well. But Quinnen right now is my number 3 defensive tackle as a starter in this league. Now, getting into number 2, and this might shock a lot of people, I have Chris Jones as my number 2 defensive tackle. He has been number 1 for many, many years, a dominant figure. 30 years old, 6'6", 310 pounds, 9 years experience, 15 games played, 37 total tackles, 19 solo, 5 sacks. He will kill you on the run defense and the pass defense. He can take over games as well, is a dominant key figure on that defense. They had to keep him. They had to give him that monster contract because if he went to anybody else, that would have been a major, major loss for this Chiefs defense. Chris Jones is a monster, and a reason he's been dominant in these past couple of years is because he's just been getting better and better with age. And so much focus, this power this kid has. Just overall so, so good and just so dominant in a lot of games. If you don't have a solid offensive line, this guy will feast. He will dominate. So watch out for a lot of teams that play this guy because Chris Jones will destroy you if you let him. But now, guys, as you know, getting into my number 1, and Giants fans, I've been rough on you guys with a lot of your players lately, but this guy I cannot deny is the best defensive tackle in the league. That is Dexter Lawrence. He is so freaking good, and you can't even take away the ability because when he's not on the field, it's obvious. This guy just takes over. There is a reason he is the best defensive tackle. He's only 27 years old, still young, 6'4", 340 pounds, 6 years experience, played in 12 games last year. 12. Think about that. Played in 12 games last year and still had 44 total tackles, 23 solo tackles, and 9 sacks in 12 games. There are defensive tackles who are in my top 10 who played in all 17 games, did not even come close to those sack numbers. That's insane. Imagine if he played every single game. He'd shoo in 15 total sacks, in my opinion. He would dominate, and he dominates. If he can stay healthy, 12 games, 9 sacks. That is insane. And Giants fans, they pride themselves in their defense because their defense is going to be solid, especially their defensive line. When you have Kayvon Thibodeau, you got the guy from the Penn State this year in the draft. His name will come back to me. But you got Brian Burns as well. And you got Dexter Lawrence, who's a staple on that defense. It is insane that this kid can just flip a switch and have a 2-sack game, a 3-sack game. That's the insanity part. And it's not even just that. He can beat you in the run defense as well. He will stand up 2 offensive linemen and push them back into the running back, running up the middle. They have to design runs outside because they don't want to run up the middle because they know they're not going to get any yards. But the problem is he will get back there in the backfield so quick that he will, with that speed he has, he will catch up to those players. That's the sad part. There's not much you can do against Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, honestly, there's nothing you can do against him. He will beat you no matter what. The biggest way you can beat him is screen passes. Get the ball out of the quarterback's hand very, very quick. Because if you hold on that ball, Dexter Lawrence will be in your face, and he'll be bringing you down for a sack and then doing his sack dance on you because that is just the dominant player that he is. And as a Jets fan, I hate to see it because I don't like to see Giants fans have a lot of success. But in all honesty, I have to tip my cap to him because Dexter Lawrence is just a monster. He honestly is. And I love Quinnen, but Dexter Lawrence is the best defensive tackle in this league. He honestly is. So there you guys have it. That is my defensive tackles power rankings. I know we normally go for an hour and everything. We went through these quick. I hope you guys enjoyed. And honestly, I love doing these live streams for you. I always get my list prepared earlier in the week and everything just to prep and get you guys ready because I love doing this. It's so much fun doing this stuff with you guys, honestly. And I have so much fun. I hope you really enjoy it as well. We're at over 1,800 subscribers, which is insane to me because I never thought this channel would blow up as much as it has. And we just keep getting bigger and bigger. And I just thank you, all of you guys, for it. You guys make this channel so much fun, and I really enjoy doing it. At some point, I want to get more merch. I already have a shirt that says the Jets Ward, which I hope to make more of those to be able to sell at some point, and I hope you guys would be willing to buy them and everything. It's so much fun. If I can make merch and get you guys more Jets Ward content and merch, it would make me so happy if you just continue to support the channel. You guys make this so much fun. I enjoy making these videos and these live streams for you. And again, I thank you so much. You guys just make this a blast, and I really do appreciate you. And guys, I'm going to end it there. I'm going to call it. I know we went a little quick tonight, but it is Saturday night. I know a lot of you guys probably have a lot of fun stuff to do. I'm so glad you tuned in. We had seven people in here, 8 people. If you coming in here, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button for this one. Helps out with the algorithm. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining me in the Jets Ward. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.